Welcome to Goddess on the Rise. I'm your host, Sarah Brookberg, Ayurveda practitioner and coach of literally all the things, helping women connect to their mind and body. This is your space for real, raw, and authentic as fuck conversations on healing, embodiment, and rising into your power. So get cozy, grab your mineral mocktails, take a deep breath, and let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of Goddess on the Rise. Wow, we've had some amazing guests so far. I have some more amazing guests coming up. I really hope you're enjoying the new format, the new ambiance, the new, I don't know, it's almost like revitalization, rejuvenation of the podcast. This has been something that I have been wanting to do. I've missed doing for so long. I love podcasting. I love having a free space for, all of us to exist, absorb information, amplify voices, and just really be. So I'm excited to provide that. Today, I am so excited to talk about what we're doing today. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb. It never ceases to fail that every time I am busy, that's when I get all the messages. So, my glasses are so dirty. We're just gonna take them off for this episode. If you don't know, the podcast also airs on YouTube, which is so cool because you get to watch me on your TV or on your phone or whatever. And I don't know. I just feel like we're connected this way. It's so fun to listen, but hey, we're here. We're having a little chatty chat. So that's fun. Anyways, I digress. Today's topic is something that I don't talk about a lot. And that's probably surprising, right? Because your girl can yap, your girl can talk. That's why I have a podcast, I'd be talking a lot. Also, I'm still drinking coffee at 3:46 in the afternoon. Not because I need it, my friend. Not because I need it, because I love it. I love the taste. If coffee could just run through my veins all the time, I love the taste of coffee. I could drink decaf coffee. I don't even need the caffeine. I love coffee. Cheers to that, baby. I've only heated the sucker up 50 times. But the girlies that get it, get it. Okay, so today, something that we are talking about, something that I've wanted to do for a hot minute, and that is to read a chapter out of the book that I'm a best-selling author in. I really don't talk about it often, and I think it's because it happened during a time in my life where I was in the trenches, you guys. Um, this was written, I think it was 2023. And I have to tell you, what is so crazy is that I, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. We were stationed in Fallon, Nevada at the time that I became a part of Story Institute, Story. And I was asked to not only teach in Story Institute, so I taught a lot of Ayurvedic modules in there, which was incredible. I was so excited for that. Um, I was also part of the academy, and that is actually where I got my board certified holistic wellness coaching certification from. And then on top of that, I was asked to participate in this book and create a chapter in it. Well, during that time, it was our very last day in our house in Fallon. The movers were there, they were packing up. And right as they took out the very last box of things and we're getting ready to sign the paperwork, my sister calls me and she says, "Do you have a space to chat? Like, can you make some space to chat?" And I just knew right away that something wasn't right. My brother-in-law was like, "Hey, like we need to talk to you." And I was like, "What is happening? Like, I'm so confused." And come to find out, ugh, my dad who had adopted me, I won't put his business out there, but he traumatically died, and I won't put his business out there out of respect that I wish he would have gave me to. So I'm gonna be the bigger person here, but he traumatically died, and I didn't have closure from that relationship, and it really, really, it it fucked me up big time. And I'm still dealing with like the trauma and the repercussions of that and the guilt that is in me that's also not mine to hold on to. But there's a lot of layers there, and the relationship with him was very estranged, and it also has like led me to be the person I am today, I feel like, and in a sense. And so we left Fallon a couple days later and went home to Iowa for like 30 days. My husband was on transfer leave. And then from there, we were going to San Diego. And then from there, we were coming back to Whidbey Island, which is where we're stationed now. And then my husband was deploying. So we had a lot of things that like we were working through. I had to leave my dog with my mom because she was just older and she couldn't make the journey. And during this time, she also tragically passed away, and like it was just a very traumatic time. Days later, like right the day before my husband deployed also, um I had to tell my mom that she had cancer. We saw her lab work and her imaging, and so that was it just was a very, 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 very tough time for me. But during that time, this chapter of this book had to be written and also had to do the whole launch for the book. And because of the launch, we became best-selling authors. And I feel like I've not talked about this book and what I've gone through much. It feels like such a fever dream, but I think what happened, what came out of it was so beautiful because I think this is some of my best writing yet. And I was just honored to even be asked. When I look back on this chapter, I will have to tell you, I've only probably read it like once or twice, mostly during like the rewrite and the edit. But that's about it. I don't think I've actually opened the book and read through it, which is, I know, so crazy to say, but that is just a state of like really trauma, PTSD that I was in, if I'm being honest. But the other day, I kind of came up with this idea. I've been toying with it for a while that I wanted to read my chapter out loud and that I wanted to do like a little YouTube video on it. And I'm so excited to do that today. And it's crazy because there's like a little expert here or excerpt that I will read, and I like read it and I was like, did I really write that? Like, oh my gosh, I love my writing and I'm excited and I'm proud of this and finally like taking a moment to own it, and it's so surreal, and I can't wait until the day that I actually write a whole book myself, not just co-author, and it becomes a best-selling as well. So the chapter in my book is called The Power of Being You, Living a Real, Raw, and Authentic Life Out Loud with Chronic Illness. Do you see the theme here? Real, raw, authentic. By the way, this book is called Quantum Holistic Healing, Awaken Your Journey. I couldn't even tell you what the name of the book was. That's how disassociated I've been from it. So kind of sad, but it is what it is. All right, so my little excerpt here says, at the end of the day, the best thing you can do is live. Make the memories, eat the damn food, and be present in your life. Stop chasing the newest health fad and just listen to your body and treat her like you love her. That's the secret to true health. Sarah Brookberg. Geeking the fuck out here. Like, I wrote that. I wrote that. So this is like the start of my chapter, and I'm just gonna read it to you guys a little bit so you guys can, like hear it from me. I think this is how many pages? gosh, it was like 13 pages. All right, so buckle up. Let's get ready. I told my husband I'd do this in like 10 to 15 minutes. I think it might be more than that. Shh, we won't tell him. Okay, I'm so excited. I can't believe I'm doing this. This is the first time I've ever read it out loud. All right. Every day there's someone out there who's walking around in pain, not even realizing how abnormal that is. Maybe that is you right now. Back pain, foot pain, PMS. I know it was me for the longest time. See, my story starts from when I was a baby. The sickness, hospital visits, my parents not knowing any better, and thinking that the doctor's word was end all and be all. But before we get into that, it's important for you to know the absolute magic that can exist within the holistic health world. They're so cute. So excited. If you're anything like me, that world might feel very confusing. When I first started studying holistic health and what it meant, I couldn't understand it at all. Every person who talked about it seemed to have conflicting information. For example, one person would say, garlic is so great for you, and anyone with thyroid conditions should be using it. Only for the next person to say, garlic is a nightshade, and people with thyroid conditions should avoid it completely. This was everywhere, and it left me more confused than anything. Stay away from inflammatory oils. Don't eat processed foods. No sugar, no caffeine, only alkaline water. I started to get confused about what I could eat. I became obsessive very quickly. I was checking the labels of every food, spending more time, more money than I had on groceries I really didn't have at the time, but I didn't care. I was desperate for a change. I also had a false sense of what true holistic health was, thinking if I did this and stuck to it, I would be skinny. And, well, that was the whole other battle to conquer. It took me years, specifically the pandemic, to realize how absolutely messed up my idea of holistic wellness truly was. At this point, I had been a nurse for about 6 years and was in school for Ayurveda wellness and integrative medicine. I understood a lot about the Western medicine world, and my eyes were starting to open to what true holistic health was. Ayurveda is an ancient medical system that is over 5,000 years old. It's the science of life and knowledge. Ayurveda believes that imbalances and disease occur in a person's physiology when stress and inflammation are present. Ayurveda encourages many different healing modalities to help a person live a fulfilling life, full of health and wellness instead of disease. But when disease is present, there are plenty of interventions that would help a person regain balance. This was the type of holistic health I could get behind, the kind of health advice that is based on a person rather than a protocol that we just give to everyone and their brother. When we do that, we miss the human experience. We miss the person that we are helping. We are not all the same, and that is where medicine, Western medicine messes up as well. We need to treat the individual rather than the disease, understanding what they have access to. We need to treat the disease with a root approach rather than a blanket solution. This was something I craved. This was something I needed for myself and what I loved learning to further help clients. Getting to the root cause meant understanding why someone had high blood pressure rather than just giving them a medication for high blood pressure, then dealing with the side effects of said medication. If we slow down, maybe we can figure out that this person is dealing with a stressful environment and needs nervous system support rather than be on a medication for the rest of their lives. This was whole body health. This was true holistic health. And this was something that I knew so many needed. Why am I crying? I'm so proud of myself. This is so good. This is so good. I can't even believe I wrote this. I literally can't believe I wrote this. This is so fucking good, guys. Okay, maybe I'm just like overhyping myself up, but I think I'm just filled with a lot of excitement and pride right now. Okay, back to the book. Okay, get it together, Sarah. My curiosity only peaked from there. And as I started my clinicals for my bachelor's degree, I learned how to help my clients on such a deeper level. I knew I couldn't wait to apply this to my clients and help them with their digestion, reproductive issues, inflammation, fatigue, brain fog, respiratory issues, and hormone health. Helping them get to the root cause of the issue rather than just a medicine that helps them for a month until the side effects of the medicine outweigh the benefits. Being an Ayurveda holistic health practitioner has changed my life, and that is just a small part of why I knew this was for me. Being able to provide care to my family and friends and helping my clients has been so rewarding. Seeing how they're finally relieved from their high blood pressure and cholesterol, seeing how they are finally experiencing normal digestion, and understanding the importance of stress relief with meditation and yoga, showing plus size women that you don't need to lose weight to become a healthier you, but rather how to implement certain modalities that lead to true health, and sometimes through that, the weight comes off naturally. Showing my patients that true health comes from loving the body they are in and treating it right, leaving diet culture and what society makes us feel is quote unquote healthy, and turning inward and listening to the body. Dot, dot, dot. That's what being a holistic practitioner means to me. As I continue to help patients, I still realized there was a gap, a mindset that seemed to be a huge struggle, and I wondered how I could help that. That is when a coaching program fell into my lap, and I realized that I wanted to give my clients the results they wanted and give them true health. Then I Oops, sorry, I misspoke. That is when a coaching program fell into my lap, and I realized if I wanted to give my clients the results they wanted and give them true health, then I needed to help them with their mindset as well. Working with a subconscious mind as a board certified life coach helped me help them on a deeper level. See, change can only happen on the surface. How many times have you tried something and it didn't stick? You wanted it so badly and were confused as to why you couldn't make it work. It is because the change needs to happen on the subconscious level, the level that makes up 99% of your decision making. And to do that, you need to be using the right language. The other part I found that was lacking was the energy. And when I became a life coach, I learned very quickly how to incorporate that for my clients. Using modalities like hypnotherapy, Reiki, timeline techniques, parts integration, and FIRES method helped me facilitate deep inner healing, release work, and so much more. This created more room for clients to focus on the healing of their body and drop out of their mind. Meaning, instead of living in your head where all the noise is, I guide you on how to drop into your body and listen there. This is truly a topic I can talk about forever because energy work is just as important as holistic health work, if not more important. It's going to be very difficult to heal your leaky gut if you still have deep feelings of hurt, grief, anger present in your system. You must process these to make room for true health, and if you don't, it'll only manifest into disease in your organs, tissues, etc. This work is potent, and I wanted to provide it to my patients. Had one I wanted to provide it so my patients had one place where they could go instead of having to refer them out and build trust with someone else because it is so difficult to do. And for me, I wouldn't be able to, or at least it would take a long time to open up about stuff like this, as in traumas the body and the mind have stored or limiting beliefs that are present. This is what I believe a true holistic health practice should look like for patients. Yes, the lab work is important. And yes, understanding your digestion and what food does to your body is important. But the energy work is just as important. And processing your emotions is just as important. I get it. It may not be sexy to cry it out, to take a minute to breathe, to regulate your nervous system. But if you don't, I can promise you, you are wasting your time. There have been multiple times in my life where Western medicine has failed me. When I was a baby, I was sick all the time, spent a lot of time in hospitals, in an asthma tent, and had chronic ear infections, chronic strep throat, which meant chronic use of antibiotics and never building my good gut bacteria back up because the science wasn't there at the time, or at least wasn't widely known. Ayurveda literature talks about this. If you know anything about holistic health, you know a lot of disease starts in the gut. And with mine, weak from chronic antibiotic use, you can imagine how the story is going to go. As I grew up, I struggled with the weirdest skin issues and was on constant steroids for them. Tonsillitis was flaring up every time I turned around, and eventually my tonsils were removed. Lab work was done, and little did we know, because it was never shared with us, I was showing signs of hyperthyroidism. 2 weeks later, my life changed forever. I woke up with a goiter around my neck, and if you don't know what that is, much like my mother and I didn't, it looks like you swallowed a tire. A quick trip to the ER established that I had something called Graves' disease, an autoimmune condition that can be absolutely life-threatening. With my thyroid levels the way they were, I was quickly sent to a specialist who confirmed it and put me on thyroid and heart medications. I was 12. And although hospitals didn't scare me because I was used to them, I was rather fascinated with them. I was absolutely scared of this. The seriousness behind everyone's faces is what scared me. I could feel the tenseness of the situation, and when the medication wasn't working, it only got worse. I don't remember much of this. That's the thing about the body. It has a beautiful mechanism of protection. Forget everything so it doesn't hurt, and that's exactly what my mind did. Everything is fuzzy, but the few pieces I do remember, I understand what my brain said. Nope, we're not remembering this. Protection. What I do remember is going into a room that looked like a lab and having to drink something that tasted like gross water. It was radioactive and basically, quote unquote, nuked my thyroid. I had to stay away from friends and family for a few days and use a separate restroom because I was radioactive. All of this while someone who I consider to be a father figure passed away, and I couldn't go to the funeral because I was radioactive. Talk about trauma. I was 12. That's crazy. After the procedure, there were no further follow-up with the endocrine pediatric doctors, which would turn out to be one of the biggest mistakes that would affect my life forever. My mother had no idea, and I know to this day is one thing that she would take back in a heartbeat. Everything since that moment has changed, and I would never be the same. The thing is, my mother was a single parent most of the time. The father who adopted me didn't believe I had anything wrong with me and would oftentimes poke at me, saying I was a hypochondriac. So my mother did a lot of parenting alone. When you go to a specialist who you assume knows best, you trust them, especially because 20 years ago, what a doctor said was gold. There was no reason not to trust them. Fast forward 4 years, I'm in my senior year of high school, and I have a moon face and gained 75 pounds out of nowhere. I'm super active. I eat decent meals. I'm in cheerleading. I work out. My job has me on my feet for over 8 hours a day, and the weight keeps coming on no matter what I do. And trust me, I do everything to stop it, including developing an eating disorder. I am not alone when I say that I was searching high and low for answers along with my mom, who noticed a massive change in me. And that's when we stumbled onto my first holistic doctor. I actually had to apply to be into her practice. I wrote an essay and shared a picture of my weight gain with her because for me, that was the only thing that mattered. And I was accepted into her practice. At first, things were wonderful. I finally felt a sense of relief, and even though I was taking about 15 different supplements and medications, my diet was severely restricted because of my quote unquote food allergies, I was finally seeing the weight come off. She diagnosed me with post-ablative Hashimoto's disease, meaning the small part of my thyroid that was left from the nuking was creating antibodies to attack itself. We didn't even know that was possible. I found out that the doctor should have followed up with me. 4 years of having my thyroid attack itself left my body in flight or fight. My adrenals were toast. My body was exhausted, and emotionally, I was not in a good place, but no one knew that part. Sometimes I wish the me now could go back in time and shake the 17-year-old I was and tell her, he's not worth it. Focus on you because this is the only body you will get. Fast forward a few months, I was in college, living in a dorm, going to nursing school, and still had my high school boyfriend who I was with for like 5 years. He had been cheating on me and ignoring me, which quickly led me, whoops, where was it going? Which led me to spiraling quickly, not focusing on myself and the major medications and diet restrictions I was supposed to be following, and then adding alcohol into the mix because I was heartbroken and in a sorority. And well, I think you could guess what happened from there. A very sick Sarah who flunked nursing school ended up finding out my boyfriend of 4 years had been cheating on me from a phone call from him on February 14th. And well, the rest is history. I had to tell my family what happened. I went home, enrolled in the community college right away, and started again. With a 45-minute commute to school and my health issues still a major problem, I failed nursing school again, thanks to adrenal stress fatigue and always being sick. This time, and by the way, I failed nursing school by a point and a half. A point and a half. And I remember my instructor, her name was Mrs. Phi. We actually combed through all of my assignments and all of my past tests to see if I could find that point and a half from anything else, just so I could pass. And it was not meant to be, which is okay. All right, this time I took a semester off and started to heal and really tried to follow what I needed, but I was still heartbroken and had no idea how to process. This time in my life was probably the most damaging, and it's still something that 30 years old I am processing and forgiving. One day I will share this story, but for now, know that I finally passed nursing school, married my love, and followed him around the US as he is in active duty military. That's so cute. Ugh, I love it. Okay. That wasn't the end of my health issues, though. As a newlywed, I couldn't figure out why I had so many issues with exhaustion that led me to not wanting intimacy. When I went to the military doctor, she said, "Well, it makes sense. You're away from your family, you're a new nurse, newly married, give yourself a break." I appreciated that feedback back then and took her word, but now I realize that my doctor wasn't a therapist and she should have done a proper workup rather than giving me life advice. Maybe then she would have found that I actually had endometriosis, PCOS, and my IUD was misplaced. Instead, I waited about 3 years with worsening symptoms before I got the answers I needed. And I wish this was the end of my health issues, but sadly, that's far from the case. I could write a whole book on this alone. You probably wouldn't be able to wrap your mind around how my story goes. Then again, that's probably not true. And I am less alone than I think I am. Let me share what stood out the most. I went to the foot doctor because one of the lovely facts about thyroid conditions is that it's literally connected to your feet. I had been dealing with plantar fasciitis since I was 13 years old and now 22 working as a nurse. At this point, I've been in healthcare for 6 years, which means being on your feet a lot. This particular encounter with the doctor left me defeated as he attributed all of my foot issues to my weight, not knowing I had been suffering from an eating disorder, over exercising, under eating, and he stated my foot issues were from my belly. Specifically, he called it a wheat belly, yet did not ask me about my diet, which at the time I had been restricting for a while. No gluten, no dairy, and checking every label excessively. I left that appointment feeling disgusted with myself, which led to more excessive measures. This wasn't the only instance a doctor had said fat phobic comments to me, although at the foot doctor visit, I wasn't fat at all. Months after my second miscarriage, a doctor had told me I had excess estrogen because of my fluffy tummy. She then documented in my medical chart that we would not be a good fit because I told her that there was no actual science to back her diagnosis up and that I would like an actual medical workup rather than her advice. One time I had a provider tell me that it was absolutely safe to eat 500 calories a day and work out for more than an hour a day when I was working 12-hour shifts. Luckily, I knew how unsafe that was and I didn't listen, but I can only think of the ones who did listen and are probably walking around with wrecked metabolism and hormones that need a lot of repair. After searching for answers for years, I finally stumbled upon a functional medicine dietitian, and my life really changed. I finally had correct lab testing ordered, and for once in my life, I received answers and support. We discovered I had parasites, Helicobacter pylori, heavy metal toxicity, and mold toxicity, and we immediately got to work on healing, which had taken years of work. I saw some progress, but then began to hit a standstill after years of research and learning. I knew deep down it was because I needed to address my burnt out nervous system, which was still operating from flight or fight mode. I still have a long way to go, and I realized so much along the way. And my biggest takeaway being if your nervous system isn't regulated, it's going to take a long time to heal. You can't outrun your trauma. It gets stuck in your muscles, your tissues, and until you take the time to address that, you will only heal on the surface level. Process the hand you have been given, the pain, the hurt, the trauma, and then you can focus on the rest and finally feel free. During these health issues I faced, I was heavy in an MLM, which is multi-level marketing, which I know now to be more of a cult. At the time, I thought I was doing amazing things, helping women lose weight and getting paid to do so. But something in 2020 flipped. All of a sudden, that language and verbiage I would use made me feel some type of way, like gross and judged, and I slowly stepped away. I started to look at other side of things and the actual science behind dieting and diet culture. I was immediately shocked. I thought I had been on a journey of self-love through weight loss, but I could never figure out why enough wasn't actually enough. I never truly felt like what I saw in the mirror, and my confidence was so surface level. I started to explore what this meant and looked like. I started eating some of my quote unquote off limit foods. I started to touch my body. I explored what mirror work was. I was more kind, gentle, and eventually loving to my body. It was then I knew I wanted to share this with more women. I wanted to reverse the damage I had done. And more importantly, I wanted to share what I have learned. So I created a three-step coaching program, launched beta testing, and started confidence coaching. It was during this time I hired my first business coach. She really showed me the ropes on what to do, and it was so simple after this. I had this deep faith within myself that I could help and that everyone would want to learn how to be confident. And before you knew it, I actually had several clients lined up and purchasing sessions and packages. They had amazing results, but it didn't feel like enough. It felt very surface level. During all of this, I was still researching confidence coaching, plus size lifestyle, and diet culture, and that is when I found a coach whose style, confidence, and literally everything about her I adored. I followed her on Instagram and absorbed all of her content, and it was then she started posting about something called the Quantum Ripple Effect, QRE Institute, a life coaching program that certifies students in about 7 different healing modalities. I was interested and began talking to my husband about it, but was really sold when she mentioned, "Are you a coach who gives talk advice?" My immediate thought was, "Fuck, that's me." She went on to talk about this is only creating surface level change, something that I'd already been noticing, and how NLP, one of the modalities that they teach inside of QRE, is much deeper than that and creates change on the subconscious level, which in return creates lasting change. Last I knew then, I was sold and would do anything to be a part of this institute. I was already in school at this time for a bachelor's degree in Ayurveda wellness and integrative medicine, but I knew I could do anything I put my mind to, and I did. I hired her as my life coach to help my own healing journey, and she doubled as my business coach as well. I immediately started sharing about this and how I couldn't wait to incorporate it all. Soon after I was certified, I created more programs about self love and confidence, and incorporated Ayurveda as well. Helping women on their self love journeys was my pride and joy, and I loved seeing them bloom, their confidence grow, and finally getting out of their own way and living the life they deserved. After I graduated with my bachelor's degree, I started working at a local apothecary and hosting events, teaching Ayurveda and helping women process stuck emotions. This had been my dream job, and although I still work as a nurse every now and then, I know I am exactly where I want to be. Soon I'll be master certified, meaning I have extensive knowledge of the subconscious mind and how to help on a deeper level. These days, you can find me doing exactly that, helping women on a deep level, helping them heal their nervous system through somatic healing, helping them heal ailments they struggle with, like digestion, metabolism, hormones, allergies, reproductive health, and other health concerns that come up. And getting to do this through lab work, using my certifications, and also using Ayurveda to help support. This work is a do with process, so although I'm helping facilitate the healing and knowledge, I can do it I can't do it for you. You have to be an active participant in your own journey. I like to explain it like this. We are in a car together. You are in the driver's seat, and I'm like your GPS. I simply guide you to where you should go to reach your destination. But maybe along the way, you want to take a detour or a different route. My goal as your GPS is to simply reroute and find the next option. I'm always here to guide, support, and help. But at the end of the day, you are in the driver's seat. And ultimately, you make the decision, which is always the right decision because you know your body best. At the end of the day, the women I work with are getting massive support in all areas of life in one place, which has massive ripples in their life and builds a bond and trust to really heal. When I'm not helping clients, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, my website, YouTube, or Facebook. I love sharing my life like an open book and having so many certifications, licenses, and degrees. I'm always teaching and sharing, and being married to the military keeps my life pretty entertaining. You can't see the eye roll if you're listening, but it's there because it's so entertaining. For the longest time, I struggled with feeling like I had to be a certain way as a nurse or even an Ayurveda practitioner and life coach. But I know now, after receiving my own coaching, that people feel connected with me because I'm real, raw, and share it like it is. There is no holding back in my life, and I will always keep it that way. What you see, my personality, is exactly what it is. My whole life, I just wanted to be normal. Now in my 30s, I crave to be wild, in love with life, the weird one, the one who knows how to be eclectic, the one who is known to be eclectic, a hippie, my bubbly self, anything but normal. Helping women understand that truth health has no look, true confidence has no bounds, and self love can exist in the body you are in is my calling. Being a professional can look like me showing up exactly how I am, dancing around in bikini on the internet in my fat body. And I wonder if more people saw and believed this, how different the world would be, how just maybe we can change societal norms. If I have to leave you with anything, it is be you. There is power in being yourself. There is power in your story and your life. And being your authentic self, even in your healing journey, will lead you to the road of self love and will bring safety to your body. I write this as I'm experiencing this in my own journey. Guys, having to sit down and type this chapter in a time of my life where everything feels dull and mute, a time in my life where my whole world was flipped upside down in the middle of a military move, finding out my husband was deploying soon, we would be traveling and living in hotels for months on end, and right before we leave, getting the call that my father died very traumatically, just days before I was going to see him. I can tell you the grief and regret has flipped my world upside down very unexpectedly, but I share this with you because I am living proof of what I have shared in this chapter. Allow the breakdowns to come through and be breakthroughs. Allow yourself to heal, take care of your body and your nervous system, and see how the energetics can change your life. I believe in you, just like I believed in myself to show up and write this, even when there were days where I didn't even know if it mattered. Choose you every day. Why am I so fucking cool? That's what I got from that. I am so fucking cool. There's also like a little about me section. I'm not gonna read that because I feel like you guys already know about me. I just think that's so cool. Oh my gosh. So I did that. And I became a Ayurveda or I became a best-selling author is what I was meant to say. But I just think that's so cool that I did that. This is really sad though. And the about me, it does say Sarah enjoys spending time with her family, playing with her golden retriever Mia. I miss her. Yeah, amazing, amazing. So I have been wanting to share this. I've been wanting to read this for so long, you guys. For so long, and I finally got through it and I finally read it, and that felt so good. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I don't get anything from this, by the way, but you can pick up a book, Quantum Holistic Healing, Awaken Your Journey, if you want it. I think the proceeds, yeah, go to like, I can't remember. It's some sort of, we all chose it too, and I can't remember what it was. But it's like a I want to say fundraiser, but that's not the right word. It goes to something special. That's what I know. So it says, Quantum Holistic Healing Awaken Your Journey offers a raw and honest view into the lives of 27 practitioners who are choosing to step out of practicing conventional medicine in order to create a purpose-filled life where whole life balance is possible. That's amazing. It is really cool. Yeah, so that is that. I'm glad you guys went on that journey with me. It was amazing to relive that. Giving myself lots of love and lots of grace as I was going through that because some of those topics are still touchy for me. I'm still diving deep into um really just like processing a lot of that. Medical trauma is real. PTSD is real. Nursing trauma is real. Childhood trauma is real, and I'm going through it. I'm going through it. I'm still processing. It takes a lot to process, for real. But I hope you enjoyed this. This was fun for me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And I love you so much. And I'll see you next week.